I'm keeping it super honest, super real. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining today. Babe, I'm starting the IG live.
Oh, how do you put on?
No, you're good. It's just I'm gonna be talking, so.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. My bad.
No, I know. Today's topic is how to deal with frustration when you're getting corrections or you're not getting corrections in a dance class or a ballet class. And I don't know if you have ever experienced this, but when we took the poll on Eureka Body Stories, 91% of you said, yes, I do get frustrated when I don't get corrections or anything pertaining to corrections. It's also something that I experienced as well growing up. I used to always be like, I need more corrections. I want to get better. Or especially if you're like, you feel like you're not being seen by the teacher, and especially if someone else is getting more corrections than you are. You know, sometimes a teacher just doesn't give that many corrections, and he or she gives more like general corrections for everyone. And, I think that's fine too. There's different, styles of teaching. Sometimes, sorry to say it, but sometimes teachers don't really give corrections because sometimes they're like not passionate about teaching. And I don't know if you ever met a teacher like that. Hopefully not, but I do have experience of being with a teacher. I don't know, let me know in the comments, guys, what you feel about this. Yes, I have experience, going into a class and being like, okay, does this teacher really like teaching? Because I feel like this person is miserable and he just doesn't want to be here. And so sometimes you have to deal with that too. And then sometimes they favor someone over you. Let's just say maybe one specific dancer or 3 specific dancers in the class, and then everyone else doesn't really get corrections. There are situations like that too. I'm keeping it super honest, super real, guys. So many different scenarios, right? But I have 7 points that I want to talk about pertaining to this topic. And I hope that they will be helpful for you guys. First of all, I want you to ask yourself, are you frustrated because you're seeking attention from the teacher? Yes, we all want to get improve and we want to get better, but ask yourself, are you just wanting attention? Not really corrections, but are you just wanting attention? Ask yourself that. Just to give an example, I also was a student, and I'm still a student. I'll forever be a student, but I'm also teaching as well, right? And I see different types of students. Of course, you want to improve, but don't just always constantly be seeking attention. Do it for you. Do it for you. Do it for you. Number 2, corrections are like treasure. If you get 1 correction a week, I don't know how many weeks there are in a year. How many weeks are in a year? 52 weeks in a year. So if you get 1 a week, that's 52 corrections. I don't know about you, but 52 is a lot of corrections. Take each correction, make it your own, and don't take anything for granted. 3, other people's corrections are your corrections. I'm sure you know this and you hear this all the time, but in class I see it so often that many dancers, when someone is being corrected, the other people don't really listen. You really have to listen to each correction that is being given. Just because they're calling out another person doesn't mean you have time to relax and be like, oh yeah, that's not me. I know in the back of your mind, you're like, oh yeah, it's not me. I'm good. And you're like, you pat yourself on the back. Do you ever do that? I have done that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not me. And then it's like, oh, actually, that correction is for all of us. Yeah, maybe she saw that girl or that guy in that specific situation and she pointed out that correction. But that doesn't mean you can take that correction, guys, steal corrections. Take corrections, make them your own, you know. It's treasure. Going back to number 2, corrections are like treasure. Okay, number 4. The amount of corrections that you get does not define you as a dancer. Yeah? The amount of corrections, whether it be 0, whether it be 100, that does not define who you are as a dancer. Just because you get 0, that doesn't mean you're a good dancer or a bad dancer. If you get 100, doesn't mean you're a good dancer or bad dancer. Depending on the situation, for example, if say a teacher just doesn't really give corrections in general and you get 0 corrections that day, that doesn't mean you're a bad dancer. I had so many people write to me about saying that they feel like they suck, that they're a bad dancer when they don't get corrections. And that's completely not true. That's just us wanting attention from the teacher. We're at number 5 now. Ask yourself, am I asking for corrections and tips for the teacher without putting in the work? So common. So common. As a teacher, me being a teacher, I see this all the time. And you just ask a question just to ask it, and then when you get an answer, you don't actually listen. You don't actually take the correction. It's so mind-boggling to me, because why are you taking that time to ask a question, wasting someone's time and energy when you're not even in the position, you don't even have the capacity to receive, absorb, and make it your own? All right, so are you gonna put the work in? Corrections are like treasure. Like, you have to be responsible for the questions that you ask. Okay, so number 6, what really will take you to the next level to improve is actually watching and listening. If you're not getting corrections, especially watch, learn, pick up every single detail, not just what the teacher is doing, but what other students are doing in class. You have to be so alert within that 90-minute class or that 60-minute class, whatever it is. You can watch other people and learn as well. You can watch other people and learn as well. If someone is being favored in the class, she's being favored for a specific reason. I don't know what it is, but the teacher likes her for a specific reason. Maybe you can learn from her. Yeah? Yes, of course, you get jealous, you get frustrated, but switch that around, turn that around, squish it, and be like, okay, I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to take from that. I'm going to steal from her and be like, okay, this is exactly what I used to do as a child, as like a student growing up. Because I was not really the favorite of the teacher. Well, depending on the school and student and studio, to be honest. But I never had like the ballet body for it. You know, I was more bigger, muscular, and the teachers were like, you know, first impression of me, they were like, you know. But I always was able to grasp the person's attention because how much I paid attention in the class. And they saw that work ethic, and then they started to actually pay attention to me. Not that being paid attention to is the ultimate goal, but which goes to my last point. Don't seek validation from the teachers. Yeah, a lot of times we do something to please the teacher. We do something to get attention from the teacher. Oh, she gave me a correction. That makes me feel better about myself. That's not how it should be. I know we all do that. And getting a correction feels like we're worth something. But at the end of the day, you have to do it for you. You have to do it for you, whether the teacher is there or not, whether other students are there or not, whether you're being favored or not. At the end of the day, you're dancing so that you yourself can improve. Would it be okay if someone asks you to repeat for clarification? Personally, I think that you can ask a teacher for clarification. First of all, I think I would wait watch other people first. Watch the first group do it. Try to pick it up by watching. And then if you still don't understand it from watching 5 times, then I would ask. That's just me. But I think it's really important to acquire the skills of watching and learning and not just being told what to do. And that's part of being a great dancer. Just be a mad scientist. I don't know why people have the time to look away. Like, there's no time. You have to always be like a hawk, watching other people. Oh, how is she pointing her foot? Oh my gosh, she's an amazing turner. How is she doing that? Wait, is she plie on a 1, or is she plie on 1, or is she plie on and the 1? Like, what's her timing? What's her coordination? Where's her arm when she does this? Is it right next to her shoulder? Is it slightly in front of her shoulder? Is it more in front? Is it slightly behind? Look at her form, you know? You can learn so much by just watching and trying. That doesn't have to be the ultimate correct thing to do. Watch, try, copy, and try it. Try it. 10 billion times. And if that doesn't work, watch again and try. It's all about trial and error for dancing, you know? It's all about watching, learning. And I don't know if stealing is a bad word, but I think stealing is like a skill, you know, especially like when it comes to corrections. Okay, good question. Let's go into the Q&A section now. Micah said, but it's so hard to see your fellow students through Zoom. Everything is on Zoom this year. For Zoom, yes, you can't watch the other students. Of course, you can't watch, you know, it's even hard to watch the teacher, which is hard, you know, so that's why you have to listen if you can't watch. So listening to the little nuances that the teacher is trying to convey to you. You can watch YouTube videos. There's so much content out there now, yeah? You can just type in on YouTube, Vaganova Ballet School, Ballet Academy, Royal Ballet School. And then you can watch a full-on ballet class that students are taking. And then you can watch by learning, learn by watching other students through a freaking YouTube video. And there's so many ballet classes you can watch and learn from. I have a hard time catching all those details, but hearing you say, I'll think about it. Think about it. Don't think about it. It's just about doing it, you know. And it is hard to catch all the details, you know. But picking up the details, that also, it's like you train. It's like your memory as well. If you have not such a quick memory and learning combinations, it's about building that memory pocket in your brain, building those listening skills, building those perceptive, like watching other people skills. And it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, you know, because you have to pay attention to the music, you have to pay attention to the teacher, and then you have to dance, and you have to fix all the corrections at the same time. There's so many things to do, you know, but that's also why, you know, like, we're never gonna be satisfied. We're never gonna just be finished with our ballet journey, and that's, you know, the amazing part about ballet, you know, because we can always improve. Amy says, but in my class, everyone is worse than me because all my fellow students are forced to dance, but I love it. So I put the passion and hard work in it. So sometimes it's hard to learn from them. Okay, you're the best in the class. And then other people are at a lower ability or level than you. You don't have to, you know, technically learn from them, but you can learn habits, personality habits and traits from watching the class. First of all, I think it's so important to not be like, oh, yeah, okay, I don't need to learn from them. You know, get that stick out of your butt, but and you can still learn about how that person learns through a class, how that person asks questions, how that person stands in a class. What makes them look slouchy? Is it their spine? Is it their neck? Some people stand in different ways. Maybe you can use this posture when you're playing an evil sister in Cinderella in the future. You can always learn something from someone, without judgment. If you can't learn technique-wise from someone, you can still learn from the teacher. You can always take one correction that you have and master it. You know how much time it takes to master one correction? And plus, if you're getting the same correction twice, that means you haven't mastered it. If you're not getting a correction, take other people's corrections. Watch other people. All the corrections that the teacher are giving to other people, use them as your own. I'm giving a correction to someone, and then while I'm giving that correction, I watch how other dancers are reacting to that question. Like, if I see someone also practicing that correction on the side, then I know that that girl is serious about improving. And if she practices on the side, then she's going to get better. Then she's going to be ready for the next correction. But then I also, if I see a girl that's kind of like going to her phone, especially if it's like a Zoom class, going to get water, not that you shouldn't get water, but just not listening, not there, then it just tells me, okay, she's not serious about this. She thinks that this correction just does not apply to her and that she doesn't need to listen to it. How do you feel about a teacher just watching one person? This is Sophia. Not giving corrections to anyone else. This happens so often, doesn't it? And I've experienced this too. Yeah, when it happens, sometimes teachers just like to favor one or two dancers in the class, and that's all they watch. And I've had teachers like that, and it was tough. But I think that you can also learn from those situations, because I've been in a situation. Okay, so this was when I was at, I have a bunch of stories, but to give like an example, I was at ABT summer program in New York. This was when I was probably like 15 years old. And, ABT summer program, the teachers are like top notch, amazing. You get there, you're so excited, and then you come to realize that the teacher only favors that one student. She was favoring two students actually in the class. And it was because they already knew them from YGP, like a competition, and they were at ABT summer program in the previous years. So the teacher already knew them. I was like, oh, welcome back to ABT summer, and oh yeah, you did so amazing in the competition. And so they already had a leg up, they were already like known by the teacher. And then so the teacher was basically only watching them, those two girls. But in my mind, I was like, I want to be the best in the class. So what I was doing was just always making sure that I was standing in the first group, in the first line, so that she can see me. Always ready, the first one to have the combination. Whenever she says, okay, who has the combination, I was the first one to raise my hand. And if she ever said, Something like oh, and like getting to the class early, stretching, take, it's unprofessional, but I can't change the world of ballet. It happens. Like, there's so many teachers out there that do that, so I'm just like sharing with you something that has helped me grow. And that's the same with the real world too. You go to a company, you work for someone, they favor someone over someone, it happens. I wish everything was equal. I wish everything was, all teachers were evenly like distributing kindness and love, but it's not, and that's who I want to be, as a teacher, but it's just not like always the case. So that's what I did at ABT. I was yeah, getting there early, super focused, everything, getting the combinations. I was the first one to get the combinations, go in the first group, first line, and then it just pushed me. Exactly, it pushes me to be better. Yeah. And then, who cares with that teacher? Maybe she just doesn't like you, but if you can push through that and go to another studio where the teacher actually will give you that time and love for you to improve, then you're already that much stronger, I think you can learn from any situation. Yeah, of course, if that teacher is not for you, look for another teacher. That's also an option. But if that's not an option, you can also kind of make the best of that situation. And then what happened at ABT New York was that we were supposed to have a summer show at the very end. We were doing Don Q, second dream act. And of course, those two girls got the lead roles. Only two lead roles, yeah? Those two girls got it, and I was so pissed. I was so upset because I was like, no, I can do that. I was so pissed because I was like, I deserve it. I want it, and I was so, oh my gosh, like, I'm getting red thinking about it. Like, in my heart, I was like, no, I deserve that. And even though the roles were already set. Yeah, the roles were set. It was one for Kitri and one for Amor, which is the Cupid variation. So those two girls got the main variations, and I was in the corps de ballet. And I was like, oh my God, like, I need a principal role. And so I still worked harder. I worked harder than I was working before. I was like on top of everything. Listening to every correction she was giving to everyone, and so on top of my game. And then, like, literally, like 2 weeks before the 1.5 weeks before the show was happening, she was like, okay, I actually am going to change something in the roles. She was like, okay, I'm gonna keep you two, but then I'm actually bringing another girl from another level to do this Kitri variation, and then we're gonna have 2 performances. So we're gonna have 2 Kitri roles and 2 Cupid roles. So she brought in another girl from another level to do the Kitri. She was from a higher level. And then she chose me to do the Cupid variation for the second performance. So that was me like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't give up. And that moment I was like, oh, this is what it's about, Even when the roles are set and you think it's the end of the world, don't give up. You have to keep on pushing. You have to, even if I did not get that part, which I did, and I'm super proud of that. Even if I didn't get that, it's how you push and how you don't give up, and that's what's going to connect us to the next stage in our improvement. Yes, okay. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Yeah, motivation, pushing yourself is a skill for sure. That's why in my previous reel that I made, you know, it's not talent, it's about the persistence. Yeah, of course you want talent too, you know, talent goes very far. Some people are just naturally more flexible or naturally good turners, naturally have artistry, like things come naturally to them, but it's all about the persistence, how we work within each class. And so never take a correction for granted, never take one class for granted, never take one combination for granted. Yeah, you don't have time to just be like, okay, I'm gonna sit this one out and relax. Yeah, if you're injured, no, rest. But if you're not injured, why not go 100%, you know? Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna end it at this note.